Again. And now let me welcome all of you to our first club officer training of the year. And we are renamed it, as all of you guessed, because we don't have the big mail list anymore, but now really specialized trainings in the evening. And of course, you're all encouraged to attend all of them. I'm sure we'll have great speakers lined up, Linda. And they're definitely interesting for people who have the experience or who just want to get a new insight. First of all, let me remind everyone, this meeting is being recorded, and by participating in this meeting, you agree to the policies of Toastmasters International and our recording service, Zoom, and you will not hold Toastmasters International liable for any kind of liability, including appropriation of likeness or defamation, which I don't think will do. If you don't agree, please keep your camera and microphone turned off. And with that, welcome again, everyone. And let us jump right into our topic for tonight, which is member engagement and retention. And I am very happy to have here with me the past district director, Todd Cudaback, who is our facility for tonight. And he has been a Toastmasters for 12 years, and of these been involved with the district leadership for 10 years. Presently, he's serving Toastmasters District 2 as the Rotary Partnership Coordinator. Todd has experience in a lot of Toastmasters events and a lot of aspects of the Toastmasters world. And like all of us who've been here for a long time, he has seen clubs thrive, been revived, and unfortunately, of course, also fail. So he truly understands what it takes for a club and its membership to be successful. He's guiding us tonight through our interactive discussion, so please keep your cameras on if you can, on membership engagement and membership retention. Please help me give a warm welcome to Todd.
Thank you, Kevin. That's pretty cool. The Division E director. That Division E is a big division. Are there any area directors here? Raise your hand if you're an area director. No area directors? Oh, there's an area director, but looks like Brian's an area director. Right on. Area directors are probably one of the most important jobs in the whole organization. So just so you know, I'm recognizing you as a very important person. Keep those clubs motivated. That's what you guys do. And you're a liaison. You are the direct connection between the clubs, your clubs, and district leadership. So it's a pretty important job, and you are taking the heartbeat for district leadership. Along with that, I would like to recognize one of our top district leaders. Linda Wortman is with us, and she is the club growth director. I had that job back in 2014, 2015. Back then it was called Lieutenant Governor of Marketing. And the big part of that job is starting clubs. I think that year, District 2 started 16 clubs. We also lost 16 clubs. So our net growth that year was 0. But we spent some time. We had a lot of clubs that were just kind of lagging, and they eventually dropped off. There had been a lot of effort in the past to keep them going, no matter what it took. But it just finally came to a head, and it was just time to, well, I'll say it like this: weed the garden. How's that? Back in 2014, 2015, when I was the Lieutenant Governor of Marketing, I got on all expenses paid trip to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. That's where the Toastmasters International Convention was that year. And it was that year that I really passionately fell in love with the Toastmasters organization. And this is why. At the Toastmasters International Convention, just like the Olympics, we have the Olympics coming up. there's an opening ceremony. And that opening ceremony, representatives from countries that have Toastmasters parade their flag through the audience, an audience of close to 1,000 people. And, you know, Toastmasters is in about 140 countries. So all of those flags get paraded and posted up on the stage. And I was sitting there watching, and I watched the flag of Russia go by. And I thought, that's kind of cool. And then a little bit later on, because they're in alphabetical order, I watched the Ukrainian flag go by. And I thought, wow, that's kind of cool. Because if you remember back then, and even today, Russia and Ukraine aren't the best of friends. Yet here's an organization dedicated to communication that isn't recognizing any borders. A little bit later on in the convention, we decided who the world champion of public speaking was. And that year, the winner was from Sri Lanka, had an amazing speech, and I misplaced his name, but it was an amazing speech, and it was truly the winner. But what I discovered was he belonged to a club in Sri Lanka, which was his district extended into India. Now, if you know world history, Sri Lanka and India aren't really the best of friends either. Yet here is an organization that isn't recognizing borders. No political agendas. And it's about communication. That's what sealed the deal for me. And that's how we change the world. That's how we make a difference, through communication, not recognizing any borders, and no political agendas. And that pretty much anchored it for me. We finished out the convention, came back, and I instantly got busy starting clubs, and well, the rest is history. And we'll leave it at that. Today's objectives are to, let me see if I can find it. Here we are. Here are today's objectives. I'm going to share it with you. This is what we're about today. We're going to facilitate an open discussion and develop some strategies on what you can do in your clubs to retain members, and some strategies to maybe re-engage some past members. That's what we're going to set out to do. Things might change. This is an open discussion. I want to hear from you guys what you are doing in your clubs in these areas. Sound like a plan? Okay, Zoom has changed on me. How do I stop sharing my screen? Aha, I have a helper. Thank you, Kevin. That's cool. I'm liking this already. Zoom is changing so radically. So that's pretty cool. So I'll just let you know after I'm done that I don't want to share that screen anymore. So what brings people to our clubs? I'm going to throw out this question to get started with, but first, before we do that, I want to share with you 3 keys to success. Now, how many of you were around when I was the district director? Anybody? Oh, Becky remembers. I shared with the district 3 keys to success. I want to share those with you quickly, because these 3 keys, and I'm going to share with you 1 tool quickly that will help your club succeed. And here is the first one. Some of you might remember this. Uh-oh, I lost my screen. Where did it go? Maybe if I share it, it will automatically come up. Let's try it. There you go. It looks like it worked. The Club Officer Handbook. Many of you have seen this. I just want to tell you that this is your guidebook. This talks about all of the officer roles. It has a calendar in it that tells you when your club should be doing things. Everybody should be familiar with this. Remember this. First key, it's in the manual. Everybody remember that? It's in the manual. There are some changes in this manual, some really prominent ones. the secretary role has changed a little bit since the vice president of education is so busy, and that is such a busy role. They're now asking the secretary to assist the vice president of education in pathways. So in the managing of pathways and in signing off members when they complete a level. So the secretary's role has changed a little bit, and maybe some of the other roles have changed a little bit too. My second key to success is this. It's on the website. Now you have two to choose from. The District 2 website will keep you informed about what's going on in the district. There's a calendar, lets you know what's coming up and when it's coming. The Toastmasters International website, toastmasters.org, is the marketing site, but it's also the education site. There's a plethora of information about you and your club, how you should conduct things. The governing documents are there, so you can go and check and see what the prescribed way to do things, or if somebody isn't doing something, all of it's there. It's kind of a boring read. And if you're looking for a reason to put yourself to sleep at night, go read the governing documents. But there is some useful and really good information there. Okay, the third key to success. And if you leave here today with nothing else remembered, please remember this. Go back to your clubs with this. What is the plan for becoming distinguished? It's a brand new baby Toastmaster year. Everything's fresh. You have a fresh officers team. Start working that plan out. What is it that you're going to do to become distinguished? If not, President's distinguished. My home club this year got 10 out of 10. It's the first time it's been President's distinguished before, but we have never had 10 out of 10 points, the DCP points. 10 out of 10, and we had 20 members. It came down to the wire with that membership, but we did it. And it makes all the difference because the whole club, and we'll talk about this with retaining members, but the whole club was ecstatic. It was a big deal. We did it. Look at this, a perfect 10. It really made a huge difference. Okay, those three keys to success. It's in the manual, it's on the website, and what's the plan? Lastly, I want to give you a tool. This tool is probably the most useful tool you can have in your toolkit. As an officers team, you should get this manual and review it. Look at it. There are 36 yes or no questions in this manual that you can ask your club or ask your officers team, do we do this? And that's the moments of truth. 36 questions. Do you do this? Yes or no? And if the answer is, yeah, sometimes we do that, that's the wrong answer. I'm just telling you, it should be yes, yes, yes. And if you're not doing, the moments of truth is about an inventory. And every successful business takes an inventory. What products and services do we have? What products and services are on the back shelf that we need to bring up front so that we can sell them or showcase them? That's what the moments of truth was really all about. It's an inventory your club can take about the things that you should be doing to make your club successful. Now, Toastmasters has been doing this for a very, very, very long time. They know what it takes. Check it out. Grab the Moments of Truth manual and review it as an officers team, or you can check it out as a club. I think, Linda, is the district doing the anonymous Moments of Truth still, or do you know?
We haven't discussed that yet, but certainly we'll do moments of truth. I mean, the question that you really have is whether or not there'll be an incentive involved, but we'll always do moments of truth.
Yep, that's what I thought. Last year they had some really cool incentives. I think it was like $100 or something if you did it between a day. Beside all that, this will help you make a difference in your club. Okay, Kevin. Oh, I have a stop share button now I found. Look at that. Woohoo. That's pretty cool. Okay, 3 keys to success and a tool for you to use to be successful. let's look at a question. Or let's throw out this question. What brings members to your club? And I'm going to open this discussion up so that everybody can chime in. What are we seeing out there? Why are people coming to your club? Why are they coming to visit? Why are they joining? Anybody have anything? Just raise your hand. Looks like Lisa wants to say something. Go ahead, Lisa.
With being on Zoom, we've had a lot of visitors from around the world, and they just want to visit clubs, as many clubs as they can while we're still meeting on Zoom.
I would grab them by the arm, the virtual arm, and twist it and make them join. No, I'm just kidding. But you get a lot of visitors just because of that. That's kind of cool. Are you getting any more visitors because they want to check out Toastmasters?
We were earlier in last year. So as the closer we got to summer, it's really stopped. As things are opening up, people are out doing things, and we've seen a real slowdown in visitors.
You know, that's interesting because at Snohomish County Toastmasters, that's my home club, we get at least 1 or 2 inquiries a week, no matter what, and it hasn't really stopped. Now, some of them are checking out our club versus other clubs, and some of them stick, but it hasn't slowed down as of yet anyway. So that's interesting that you've noticed a slowdown. LaDan, am I saying that right? LaDan, you have a comment?
Yes, so to answer your question, everybody who joins our club, I mean, without exception, they say that they join to improve their communication skills.
Yeah, that's a big one. They want to, or their job, I hear a lot, their job requires them to hone their skills a little bit, and they were recommended to join Toastmasters. Yeah. Anybody else have anything? Here's a little pie chart that Toastmasters International has come up with their polling data, and you can see build confidence for public speaking is probably the biggest piece of that pie. Only to be just a little bit below it is becoming more effective in speaker. Now, we just had somebody join Snohomish County Toastmasters, and they were part of that 10% of improving leadership skills. So it was recommended by their boss that they check out Toastmasters because to improve leadership skills. So we are, a huge, what do I want to say, teacher or instruction on leadership too. Increase professional goals. So this is kind of what Toastmasters International has determined is the reason for people that show up to our clubs. So when they show up, does anybody else have any comments? Just raise your hand. Looks like we have something in the chat. Oh, it's very hazy. That's interesting.
I think you're sharing your presenter view and not the full presentation. So we see also your next slide coming in.
Let's see. How about this? Thank you for telling me that. Did that work?
That looks a lot better.
Okay, there it is. Thank you for telling me that. I got to be careful which one I pick. Oh, see, when I do that though, Kevin, I lose my stop shares part. So that's kind of interesting. You can go ahead and stop sharing that for me. So we're back to that. I got to learn that a little bit different. So there's one comment that I want to make here about when new members visit your club. How many of you definitely are aware that being a member of Toastmasters has made a difference in your life? Yeah, I think I can sense just about everybody's hand raising up. So when a new person comes to a club, they don't know that, but you know that. And they're kind of on the fringes. And what I want to say to you is you can be a little bit pushy about asking them to join because you're not selling them a lemon. It will make a difference in their life. And I don't get too pushy. I've been the vice president of membership now for the last year at Snohomish County Toastmasters, and I always ask them point blank at the end of the meeting, would you like to be a member of this club? And I preface that with, I can speak for everybody here. We would love for you to be a member. We think that you would be a perfect fit. Make them feel comfortable and yet get them to consider joining as quick as possible. In Snohomish County Toastmasters, I've seen people come, be excited about the meeting, be excited about what they saw, and they say, oh yeah, I'll come back next week and check it out again, and we never see them again. And it's kind of sad, because you know for sure that you and your club can help make a difference in that person's life. So I guess my point is be a little, I don't want to say pushy. What's the word I'm looking for? A little aggressive?
Persuasive.
Persuasive. There you go. Be a little extra persuasive in getting them to fill out an application and join the club, because you know it will make a difference. And you know, I am very persuasive. We get people to join, and they soon learn the power that Toastmasters has. So what are some of the strategies that you might have when attracting and getting that member to join? Anybody want to comment on that? Go ahead, Jeffrey.
Sure. I find that it helps to invite them to the next meeting individually, include them on the reminder emails that you send to the club. And it really helps if you can get them to sign up for one of the functionary roles at the next meeting. It gives them a sense of ownership and belonging in the next meeting.
That is so very true. And we'll talk a little bit, but that's another one of my pet peeves. Anybody else have a comment? Go ahead. Let's see if I can say it right. Swapnil? Swapnil.
Yeah, so we in our very first meeting, we always ask, we don't force, but we always ask the new guest members if they want to participate in table topics, because I think it helps in building a confidence in them, and they also feel motivated, and they feel that they are the part of the meeting. So I think that helps. And immediately after the closure of that meeting, our VP membership sends out a friendly email to the candidates if stating that we felt that they were part of the meeting, they participated nicely, and if they would like to continue. And if they have any queries, they can always ask and be the part of the next meeting.
That's very cool. You can always preface that with, we think you would be a good fit, or we think you would fit right in with our club, or something along those lines too. Make them feel warm and welcome. And you know, that's what it's all about. The organization is really all about, it's designed about that new member. It all revolves around that new member joining the club. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as we progress here. Anybody else have anything? So why are people leaving? Why did they leave? Now, there are a lot of reasons. People move, no excuse for Zoom. People get busy, or they start going to school. Now, Toastmasters, back when I was the district director, they identified that a person leaves right after their third speech. And they feel like they've come and got what they were after, or they don't feel like they belong. Something occurs around that third speech that doesn't keep them motivated with the program. Anybody else notice that, or have any comments about that?
I think the one thing which has changed there is that the old program had 10 speeches before you got the first recognition. Now in Pathways, you have 4 until there's like, yay, you got level 1 completed. So I think that has also something to do with being recognized to actually make progress.
That's huge. And that's part of this discussion is recognition. Now, here's my belief, and you can remember this. This is easy to remember because it works and it's true. Recognition sparks ambition. And if you can recognize people for their accomplishments and make it a big deal, I've seen recently on some of the Facebook posts on Toastmasters that you can actually get the Pathways badge. Now, I think that's after a level completion, or I mean, a path completion, you get that badge, or I don't know. Level completion is a big deal, and that keeps a person motivated to keep on going. And another one of my pet peeves, I'm going to talk about it right now because this is probably a good place. How many of your clubs have voluntary signups? That is, just let people sign up for roles. Yeah. A few. In all of my travels and all of my working with clubs and visiting clubs, the clubs that I see get into trouble do that. And here's the reason why. New people are less likely to sign up for roles. And then once they don't sign up for roles and don't get a job, and then they're not committed to show up to the meeting, and then they just drop off. Clubs that assign roles and work agendas like 3 months out in advance give people plenty of time to know that they have a role coming up and hold members accountable to that role. If they can't make the meeting, that's fine, but tell somebody. Don't show up. It takes a culture, and you really have to be diligent about it. But that gives a sense of community and a sense of belonging and a sense of, hey, I really make a difference. And it's important for me to show up because I have this role. It's a big deal. I'm just telling you, and it's just one of my pet peeves. Clubs that allow complete volunteer sign up are rotating through members left and right. They're coming in, they're going, and they're coming in, they're going. Does anybody else recognize that, or is that something they see too? You can raise your hand or make a comment. I'm open for comments, discussion. Brian, is that something you noticed? I noticed you raised your hand when you said that you allow signups. Is that a real deal, or am I?
No, you're not off base. You're not off base. I think you're right. I think it's difficult to admit that because we want it to be everybody to be engaged. But the reality is that at some level, people just need to be told, hey, you're on the list for this meeting. And then they'll tell you if they can make it or not, at the very least.
You know what else helps with that too? In the club leadership handbook, under the vice president of membership section, in a gray box in the left-hand column is the Toastmaster induction. And when you sign up a new member, and either the president or the vice president of membership does that induction, you know, that kind of puts an anchor to that you know, you have committed to this, and you know, it's okay that you can't make it to a meeting. This is a volunteer organization. But if you have made a commitment to take a role and you've known about it for 3 weeks in advance, and then you just don't show up without telling anybody, that's, you know, that's something that you can hold them accountable to, I guess is what I'm saying. It takes a little while to develop that culture, but once it's in place, it makes a huge difference. I'll tell you this personal story. Snohomish County Toastmasters, for years, when I first started, the agenda was assigned, and the roles were assigned. Every role was assigned. We knew about it 3 weeks in advance, and this club just buzzed. I mean, you walked into our club meetings and it was just energy on, and everybody knew what to do. And there was 20 people there and everybody was ready to go, and the agendas were printed. The other important part about this that I should say really quickly is when you're assigned the Toastmaster role, that's your event. That's your meeting. And anybody that wants to change or can't make it should be communicating with that Toastmaster. That's kind of the culture that we developed. Over the years, it developed into, we got some new vice president of educations, and they decided just to let people willy-nilly sign up for roles, and the new people would come and they would fall off and fall away, and nobody would sign up for roles, and it got dysfunctional. I'm telling you the truth. I watched it happen. So I know, for at least for me, that my opinion is well-founded for what happened in my club and other clubs that I've seen happen to. So I guess my point is it takes a little bit of effort if you haven't been doing it to get it established, and all the officers have to be on board, and you have to be able to have some mechanism to hold people accountable to those roles, to that agenda, and to that Toastmaster role. So that's what I have to say about. Any other comments about why people are leaving, retention, what your club does? We talked about recognition, get away from volunteering for roles. What are some of the other things that are really helpful for keeping people around? Anybody have anything? Brian?
Checking in with folks, the reminder email from, say, the VP of membership. How you doing? The text, a call. We haven't seen you. Are you okay?
Right. Follow up. Yeah. Baden, did you have something? LeDan. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I think it's LeDan.
No, that's okay. Actually, one strategy would be assigning mentors to them, to the new
Yeah.
members.
Ding, 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 ding. That's a biggie. Here's my belief. I don't get to keep it unless I give it away. And members like me, I call myself a pot now these days, except I do have a district leadership role, but a pot is a plain old Toastmaster that's been around for a while. But members like me, I don't get to keep it unless I give it away. So what LeDan was talking about is assigning those mentors, those long-standing club members as mentors to help the new people. Gives them, it's almost like it gives them vitality. It gives them a new meaning. They're helping somebody with the program. And I think that is huge. And clubs should be installing that mentorship program anyway, because pathways can be complicated. The rules of the road can be complicated. People need to feel comfortable and know that they're not doing something wrong, even though it's pretty hard to do something wrong, but they feel scared that they're going to do it wrong, or they're not going to do what they're supposed to be doing. And a mentor can certainly help them overcome that. It doesn't take much. I think in the old manuals, a mentor was assigned to get a person through their third speech. I think now, from what I hear, Toastmasters International is coming up with a whole mentorship program that will be another sign-off. So it's coming down the road. I've heard about it for a couple of years. I haven't seen it yet, although you can start to see it inkling in little by little. So that's huge. Thank you, Ladin. That's a big part of it. Linda?
Well, when you had your fingers like this, when you were talking about a badge, did you mean a virtual badge on Pathways, or did you mean a pin for finishing a path? And then my second question is, talk about Speechcraft if you have anything there.
Yeah, well, first up, the badge, they were actually pins, but they were about that big around. The guy had a whole rack of them, and there's no way he could have done all those paths. So I was thinking they were for levels or something. Do they have pins for levels now?
It's a full pin, just like the Toastmasters pin. It's metal. And then there's a little thing that hangs down from the stem of the pin that can tell what level you're on if you want to put the extra. Yeah.
So you get the pin for the path, and then
Yeah.
as you complete each level, you get a little
If you
string
want
around.
to, yeah, we just, in my club, we just gave them the pin. We didn't give them each little level thing.
So that just recognizes that's the path they're on. Huh, pretty cool. And then Speechcraft. Speechcraft is a cool little program that you can get your club involved in and put on a seminar and actually attract people to your club. And then it's usually a paid experience, but then you roll that payment into some kind of membership. Has that changed at all, Linda? Did I get it all right? That's kind of the old
You
way.
got it exactly right. It's however you want to manage it as a club. But the last Speechcraft that I did, we charged them money and then we gave them money towards a membership. So it worked out really well. It was very well received.
And how did you market that? Was it marketed through Facebook? And what was the Speechcraft about? What would the person get from attending the Speechcraft?
I had a Speechcraft just fall in my lap out of the sky because the previous club growth director had a contact from a company and they wanted to start a Toastmasters group. And she said, oh, I think you should do Speechcraft. And so she sent out an email, and a few of us, 6 of us, because there was 30 people that wanted in. So we didn't really have to market it, which was very fortunate in hindsight, because there's a couple tiny flaws with the Speechcraft. And one of them is
it's an old program.
Well, they rewrote it. It's all on the computer now, just like Pathways is. It's brand new. It just came out. And one of the little things that I don't appreciate about it was they won't give you any marketing materials until you already buy the bundle and say when you're going to start and end. And how can you really say when you're going to start and end until you've got everybody like initiated and say, yes, let me in. So I think they ought to give the marketing materials first. But so that was one little idiosyncrasy. But next time, now I've already got the marketing materials. Next time we'll do it a different way, of course, because we won't just have a company. But yeah, I mean, marketing could be a whole nother topic, right?
Right.
We could have a whole session on just marketing.
Right. Anybody else have any comments or concerns about, there's something else that comes. Oh, go ahead, Kevin.
Relevance, I think, is another important part if you look about what they take out. And I know some of the Microsoft clubs in Division E, they recognize when a member speaks actually at a corporate event outside of Toastmasters.
Cool.
And that way tie it back to the Toastmasters membership.
Very cool. That's cool that Microsoft. So how many clubs are at Microsoft now? Or is it still 5?
I think 7.
They've grown by 2. Cool. Yeah, that's a big deal. I think back in the day we only had 2. And over the years, it's just progressed and progressed and progressed. We had a whole area at Amazon one time. I think it might still be that way. Maybe not. Amazon downtown, the entire building was an area. Anybody else have any comments or concerns? I see a question, maybe. Recognition sparks ambition. You like that, Linda?
I really do. I think it should have a nice background. It should be a meme. And it should be, it should have your name under it, of course.
So we were sitting, I'll just tell you the story. We were sitting in the airport in Taiwan on our way to Malaysia. Now you got to remember, too, back a little ways, we were flying to Malaysia about 8 months after Malaysia Airlines disappeared. I know. So that was kind of a spooky ride anyway. And it was like a 13 or 14-hour flight. I forget. Anyway, we had a layover in Taiwan for 4 hours. And so the trio, we were sitting around in the airport just hashing out ideas. And we were talking about recognition, and it just popped me in the head. Recognition sparks ambition. And it stuck with me ever since. So I don't know if I heard it somewhere or I've been accused of copying it, but it came out of my head. I'm here to tell you, and I wouldn't make that up. So it's pretty cool. I really like it too. So that's cool. Anybody else? Comments, concerns about retention, retaining members? People come and go, and they have reasons that they need to do that. but as club officers and as the leadership team, we need to make it a big part of keeping people around, because people will come, they won't feel a part of it, they won't feel like they belong, they won't feel involved. And it's up to us to figure out and troubleshoot how we can make it so that those people will stick around, because like you all agreed already, you've experienced the benefits of Toastmasters and especially the personal growth. And those people deserve it too. So make it comfortable, make it easy. And Jeff, did you have something?
Yes, I'm a member of several clubs, including some advanced clubs. I find that it helps to have a routine, and it also helps to break the routine.
Sometimes.
Every once in a while, have some kind of special purpose meeting, bring in a guest speaker to talk about evaluations, do a table topics workshop, but you can't do that all the time.
No.
Most of the time you want to follow a regular format, otherwise people will get confused. But that just makes it that much more effective when you break the routine and do something else.
Yeah, and there's lots of ways to do that. I've done some pretty cool things. Many of you might have heard, but consider a backwards meeting where the speaker has to match the evaluator's evaluation. Pretty slick. Or something that we've done at my home club, something that I've tried to spark in the rest of the district, is challenging another club to a debate. It's a table topics style debate game that you play, and you pit one person from one club against another person from another different club, and you throw out table topics debate questions and let them go back and forth with the rebuttal, and then everybody gets to vote. So it's kind of cool, and it's a lot of fun, and we had great success. We visited their club, and then they came and visited our club, and we did it both times, and it was a blast. So that's some cool thing. Anybody else have any really cool kind of meeting ideas? Jeff is totally right in mixing it up, sometimes making it fun. Contests can be a huge blast, especially if you do a contest somewhere other than your meeting location, now that we're probably getting off soon. Yeah, Jeff, go ahead.
Another one, an idea that's really easy to do, but can help you if your club is getting into a rut, is a speaker evaluator exchange with another club, where you have
Cool.
someone from their club evaluate your speaker, someone from your club evaluate their speaker. If your membership has been static for a little while, sometimes you've been getting evaluations from the same people for a while.
Yeah, that's actually, and Zoom makes it so much easier. I think, just my personal opinion, I think Toastmasters is going to have a hard time putting this cat back in the bag. At first, I was totally not in the groove with the whole Zoom thing. And it was just, come on, we got to get back to our meeting place. We got to get back to our meeting. I'm not into this. And then it started to catch on. And then I started to figure out some of the techniques that you learn, and the different styles of speaking over Zoom. And it started to, now it would be hard for me to get back to it. I belong to an advanced club that's all the way up in Mount Vernon, and I hope we go hybrid, because that hour and a half drive, it's like first thing in the morning, especially. Lisa, did I see your hand go up? Did you have something?
I didn't raise my hand, but something that we're considering, or actually I shouldn't say considering, we are going to do this. We're going to do a we meet on Wednesday, so it'll be a 5th Wednesday meeting. So it'll happen 4 times a year. And we're actually starting with evaluations. That's interesting that Brian brought that up, because I thought it would be very engaging for our club, but it also would be a great opportunity to bring some other people from outside our club in to either be a speaker or participate in the evaluation. So what we're going to do is have one speech have 1 to 3 evaluations, and then we're going to do a round robin where we evaluate the evaluations. So I'm hoping that it'll be a learning opportunity, it'll be fun, and it will be a chance to see some
Interact.
different evaluation styles.
Yeah. Is anybody out there moving back to in-person meetings? Anybody yet? Now that the state has opened up?
We want to, but our meeting space still isn't open for meetings.
Yeah, just a matter of time, I think. I did hear the other day that Snohomish County building is open. I don't know if they're open to us coming back in, but
Redmond Knights wants to move back at the beginning of August, so they might be one of the first ones.
who was that?
Redmond Knights.
Oh, that's an old club. That's a cool. Do you belong to that club, Kevin?
No, it was in
Okay.
my area.
Oh, it's in your, yeah, it's in your division.
Division now as well, yes.
Jeff, again.
If you work for a national or international organization, I think that telemeetings are here to stay.
Yeah.
And it's a skill we're all going to have to keep working on. And where I work for the federal government. People are mostly concerned. People have gotten pretty comfortable with 100% Zoom or Teams meetings. But people are really wondering what's going to happen when we have some people in the office. So we have a large contingent of people who are joining by computer.
Zooming in.
Zooming in, and a number of people who are in the conference room. And that, I think it's going to take a little bit of work to figure out how to make that function so that everyone can participate equally.
Yeah, that's Toastmasters' solution too, is hybrids, what they're calling hybrids. Okay, well, I think that we're about halfway through, and I hope that I've given, and we have given each other some ideas that you can take back to your club and strategizing retention and attracting new members and keeping them around. If you have any comments or questions, you can reach out to me. I am available, by the way, Lisa, to be a guest speaker at clubs. I have a really cool presentation on how to craft your speech, and a lot of people really enjoy it. And it takes a person right down to the basics. How do I do it? And it gets them involved and has them crafting great speeches really quick. I use it all the time, so it's pretty cool. Offered to everybody. I think Linda has a district announcement. Linda, did you want to say something? If
I do indeed, and I noticed that
nothing else, just say hi.
I noticed that Tammy unmuted and came on, so I thought I'd give her an opportunity first.
Yeah, a couple of things. One, I'm with Redmond 2828, so we have older members. Yes, Todd rocks. The challenges, and I appreciate you things that were brought up, some of which have been suggested, not necessarily the members willing to follow through. This is the way they've done it, is their perception, and that's okay. We move them centimeter by centimeter. One, the challenge we have is they really want to get back to face-to-face, but we're also, as has been said, the place is just not there, at least not within reasonable for us. So challenges that we're facing. So age of the membership, the extended experience, but coming from, I don't want to say old school, but coming from days back, and then the challenge that we're facing. Now, positive to that was when we first started with the online meetings, our older members were not happy, and so they fussed quite a bit. Now, however, they're proud of the things that they've learned and the things that they're exchanging with each other. So yes,
Pointing a finger right at me.
Comments from my side of the town of Redmond.
Yeah, it's a big challenge. What I heard a past international president say this. She was a guest speaker here in the area, and this is what she said. She said, "Show me a struggling club, and I'll show you a longtime member sitting in the background, dragging that club to the basement." And there's some truth to that. And that's probably what you're experiencing. The only thing I can say is to overcome that is just keep attracting new members and getting them involved and mentoring them and getting that new energy in the club. Because like I said, it's all about that new member. The whole organization, the club meeting, everything revolves around that new member and giving them the opportunity to learn and grow. Okay, Linda, did you have an announcement?
Yes, I do. I would like to talk about convention. It's coming right on up. And here, let me share my screen here. This is the page that you can go to. I put the link in the chat there, and you can register here. And as you can see, it's free because it is online. But I went ahead and paid the $25 to get the access pass, because you can see the differences here of what you get for that as opposed to just the free. So it's up to you which way you decide to go. But it is coming up. It is August 23rd through August 28th. And we're very fortunate that it's online, so we can all go. And I just wanted to give you a sneak peek of something that is off topic for what we're talking about tonight. But as far as the district level, retention is equally balanced, like Todd said at the beginning, with new clubs. So both parts are parts of my job for club growth. I work on retaining members and helping clubs be successful. And I also work on new clubs. And so an incentive that we've decided to offer that's coming up is if you start a club, brand new club between now and September 30, we're going to give $200 in D2 which gives the club a big bonus to get all the supplies, or maybe to get a Zoom account, or maybe a Meetup account. There's a list of things that you can buy with your D2. So anybody put their thinking cap on, and if anybody knows or works for somewhere that might be interested in having a club, let me know, and we'll get cracking on it, because we got to, get more people, and especially would love to get more young people involved, because I see that as a big part of the future. But yeah, I think Todd's doing a wonderful job. Let's give him a nice round of applause in the midway here, because he's just, isn't he great? He's been around forever. He knows what he's talking about, and he's really leading the way. And if anybody has any questions, this is a really great time to pick his brain. So back to you, Todd.
I've probably forgotten more than I know. So that too. And I am involved in the Rotary. And if you want to know more about that program, you can email me, or we can talk about it later. Rotary does an amazing job with community service, and they do some, can you imagine 10,000 pairs of socks distributed to the homeless? I mean, that's just some of the things that they do. It's pretty cool. And Toastmasters are invited to join them. You don't have to join their Rotary Club. You can just join them in some of their events, and you're welcome to come and help them out. So it's kind of cool. It's pretty cool. And then maybe you could talk to them about your club and them coming to visit. We will be having about 50 Rotarians looking for clubs to join here pretty soon. So I'll have my eyes out for those clubs that are exceptional and exhibit exceptional qualities in the Toastmasters program to refer them to. So let me know if one of those is your club. Let's take a 5-minute break, and we'll be back here. Oh, let's just call it 7:30. Or yeah, 7:30. 7:30. We'll be back here at 7:30. I'll start promptly at 7:30. See you soon. Everything going okay, Kevin?
All good here.
Okay, cool. I need to get some more water. I'll be right back.
That's
All right, we are promptly at 7:30. Now, we talked a little bit about retaining members and what kind of strategies we can use to retain members. Does anybody else have anything along those lines of retention? We kind of stepped into the next training session a little bit, but anybody have any comments, concerns, strategies your club uses for retention? How about re-engaging? I know recently at Snohomish County Toastmasters, we had 2 members come back Now, the only way that could happen was, of course, was because of Zoom. One member moved to Memphis, Tennessee, and the other one moved to Seattle. And they both have come back to our club because of Zoom, basically. And one of them is a past president. And it was all it took was an ask. I think as we came down to the wire here, we were 2 members short of our 20. And we reached out to some past members and they came back willingly and are active participants. So maybe re-looking at some of those past members is a good way of building up club membership, especially in Zoom. Anybody have any comments about that or any strategies that they've used to re-engage old members?
I think it will also be important once we go back to hybrid or in-person meeting. So I know our club has a list of 11 members who said they come back once we meet in person because they're fatigue
right?
of Zoom, have kids at home.
Right. Interesting that they said they would come back when you're in person. That's a twist, huh? Anybody else have a comment about that?
Yeah,
Linda?
we had a reunion one time. We went back and looked at the
Oh,
old
nice.
records of all the people that had been here before, and we invited everybody back for a big reunion. I can't say that really a lot of them rejoined, but it was a great effort anyway to have and we called it an open house because it seemed more like, they could just come and drop in and stuff. So but that was pre-Zoom.
Pre-Zoom. Something I was thinking about today was, many of our members leave because of work or they move and then they go on these adventures. And I was thinking about it today. Wow, we could actually invite them. I think it was Lisa that was talking about finding guest speakers. We could invite them back to be a guest speaker and give us an update and maybe get that energy sparked again. I thought that was kind of a cool idea that just popped into my head. Anybody else have any other comments about re-engaging past members? Anybody had success? Anything? I'm trying to think of what else other than just going down to the list and reaching out with an email. Is everybody experiencing good membership? How's that for a good question? Is everybody's membership levels up or is everybody experiencing low membership? Anybody comments, questions?
Compared to historical over time for the club or compared to what Toastmasters wants?
Well, have you noticed a difference with Zoom? Is it up? Is it down?
Slightly down.
Yeah, I think
Slightly
a lot
down.
of clubs. I think a lot of clubs. It's interesting, and I don't know if it's marketing. It's interesting that Snohomish County, maybe it's the name. It could very well be the name, but we get 1 or 2 inquiries a week.
Well, you're the official Toastmaster club for the entire county, right?
I don't think we're official, but we have the name. That's for sure. Any other strategies people are using to attract members? There's meetups. Back when I was the district director, Meetup had just started and we were giving clubs incentives to use Meetup and it didn't really take off. And I don't know if it's an effective tool. Anybody using Meetup to gain membership? Yeah, Linda?
Yeah, both of my clubs use Meetup. Actually, I came through Meetup, so I'm personally a huge proponent of Meetup for sure.
Jeffrey?
I have seen Meetup work very well for one of the clubs that I used to be a member of and I still sometimes visit in San Francisco. Especially.
And so what's the strategy? What's the strategy with Meetup? How do you work it?
Now you have to publicize every single meeting, try to convince everyone who's a member of the club to
chat it up.
Yeah, to chat it up and to announce that they will be attending. And don't just put up the same message every single time.
Right.
Say something like Ray will be the Toastmaster and his meeting theme will be Caribbean vacations. It could be almost anything as long as you keep mixing it up.
Yeah.
A lot of people, especially younger people, don't believe that you exist unless you have an active web presence.
I know, it's crazy.
The one problem we had with the meetup is people would join the meetup and think that they were a member of the club.
Right.
And we had to convince them, no, you've just joined the meetup. There's an actual Toastmasters club here.
Yeah. Lisa, did you have a comment?
We've been using Meetup for quite some time, and I agree with what Jeffrey said, trying to get them from the RSVP for a meeting on Meetup, but getting them from that RSVP to actually show up to the meeting is challenging. It was a little bit easier when we met in person, because
Right.
that's the whole thing about Meetup, is you're going to go
To a
meet
meeting. Yeah.
new people. In the virtual space, we have had some people come from Meetup, but it was more useful when we met in person.
Right. Right. Chatting it up, I think, is really important. You know, I've caught wind of some clubs creating a whole new role, and they call it the postmaster. And so after the meeting, it's that person's job to do the social media posting, because it's just like Jeffrey said, if you chat it up and show a lot of activity, the younger people will be more attracted to activity. And some clubs are reporting that they even put, oh, wow, we heard this, something to this effect. We heard this really cool speech tonight about da 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 da, and we learned all about this. So that kind of chatting gets people interested, or at least perks their ears to come and check it out. Different speeches. You know, we all hear some amazing speeches in our meetings, and, you know, talking about, not only that, what does that do? That gives that person that was speaking some recognition, right? And so what are they going to do? They're going to go to their club Facebook page, let's say, and, oh, wow, Sally chatted up my speech. I'm going to share this on my page because this is pretty cool. And then you even get more publicity with your friends. So it's kind of an exponential growth thing, but somebody's got to start it. And, you know, I thought that was kind of cool, having a role called the postmaster, and their whole job was after the meeting just to go somewhere, whether it's a meetup or whether it's a Facebook page or Twitter or something along those lines, and chat it up.
I'm curious if anybody's using LinkedIn to help build membership, because that is something that we're looking at for our club this year.
I hear that's getting popular. You're the second person I've heard talk about that. And anybody have any success with LinkedIn? I don't know Toastmasters, other than there's some groups on LinkedIn that talk about Toastmasters a lot, or there's an open discussion. But I don't know that any clubs, any other clubs have any experience with LinkedIn.
Yeah, I went and set up a was it a page, a link, too many sites, too many different names.
Welcome to the 21st century.
Just to have a presence, because we've got Facebook, and I was like, okay, we'll try LinkedIn. I don't think I'm posting frequently enough to feed the beast,
Right.
so that I really haven't gotten the engagement. I think I have to post, you know, at least once for every meeting. Did put some video on there, got a few hits, but I think it takes time and network effects to really generate any leads out of that.
Yeah.
Do any of your club members share the content on their own profiles?
Haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
Haven't gotten there yet. Just by the club membership, they're not very
LinkedIn
active on LinkedIn. Yes, they're not that LinkedIn, I guess, on LinkedIn.
I could see that, especially with some older clubs. You know, that's something the young generation could really help with. But here's part of the thing is you got to get them, you got to interact with them on their level, because, you know, they come and they see, and it's kind of, an older crowd and they don't really know that they fit in and adjust. Now in Snohomish County Toastmasters, we're starting to attract that younger crowd and we're building that presence to where they can identify with people in the club, and it's beginning to build and boom. So there's some magic there that you got to get the right combination for young people to stick in the club. Anybody else experiencing that or have a comment about that?
Couple of comments. When I was in Texas, I was helpful to start the team Toastmasters at the University of North Texas and
Cool.
Texas Women's University. And the students were so excited, staff then came on board and we were able to establish staff meetings. So that was very good reinforcement for our efforts. Another is every time I'm in a meeting, webinars, conference, and the smallest inkling of suggestion that, oh, stronger leadership, our speaking skills would be fabulous. I stop by and I discuss Toastmasters with them. 9 times out of 10, they're familiar. Probably five out of 10, they say, yeah, I was thinking about going to a meeting. And so now
that a lot.
And now that we're online, I say, here you go, turn on your computer. A comment also about generating word about Toastmasters. I'm part of it's called Inner MBA program, and we have postings and meetings and get-togethers, and I posted information about Toastmasters, and I had several responses. What I'm going to do next time is I will post it again. That time, however, or next time, I'm going to have formal meetings of getting together for half an hour, answering questions, giving them a taste of what Toastmasters is about.
Yeah, that's very cool. Something I'm working on is what I'm calling Jumpstart to Toastmasters. So I'm working with this for Rotary, but in working with it, I did it twice last year. And I thought, wow, why aren't we doing this for the newcomers in Toastmasters? It's called Jumpstart to Toastmasters. It's just a quick little training about what to expect in a meeting, what Pathways is all about, and how to craft a speech. And it's just quick. Here's the Rotary that we gave it to last year were just ecstatic, and we got rave reviews. And so this year we're going to do it again. So keep an eye out for Jumpstart to Toastmasters for some of those people that are new in your club, because not only am I going to offer it to Rotary, but we're going to be offering it to the rest of the district, especially new people. So that's a great way of coming and learning, Tammy, about what is it about, right? A new person shows up at a club. It can be intimidating sometimes, seeing all these roles and all these things going on. And unless there's somebody that's going to reach out to them and explain these things to them like they should, it's kind of intimidating for some people. So that's pretty cool, Tammy. Keep up the great work. Maybe you should come check out my Rotary committee meeting. I'm just kidding. I'm always recruiting. Anybody else have any comments, questions, concerns? Anything you want to know about Toastmasters, the program, what I think about it, my opinion? Some confusion if you're having difficulties or trouble. Any question is a good question.
We're still going through a little bit of the Pathways birthing pains.
I hear you, brother.
And look, the thing is about the manuals, the manuals that we started with, when did I start? Like 5 years ago? There were almost 90 years worth of experience behind that manuals. And then we switched to Pathways, which has some of the DNA in there, but it's different enough that there is, for a lot of existing members and some new members, a little bit of heartburn around that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's me. I don't know if anybody else is experiencing that.
Well, we have whole clubs in District 2. I don't know if they're still refusing, but we had a whole club. I think it's in Division E. I think, Kevin, don't you have a club that is just totally refusing to go to Pathways? They just said, nope, we're not doing it. And I don't know if they're still that way.
They did it last year. Oh, no, this year in in February, and what got them over was that you got the pass for free.
Oh,
That was the last.
that's funny. Maybe that's why Toastmasters International did that. That's interesting, because I was wondering, they did that twice. They gave free paths twice. So I wonder if that was their incentive. That's interesting. Cool. Well, Linda, you don't have to worry about that club anymore. Not reaching DCP points. Any other comments, questions? I've probably forgotten more than I know, but if you ask the right question, it might spark some neurons that I can come up with an answer or help you with, or somebody else here might know something.
Todd,
Yeah.
this is Marie. I'm with Costco Toastmasters.
Hi, Marie. Which one? The old one or the new one?
The Costco Toastmasters.
The Costco Toastmasters. Yay.
Yeah, the one we just celebrated our 20-year anniversary.
Yeah. I visited
in
that club a
February.
couple times.
I know, I remember you. And you
Oh.
were there for the launch of Tech Masters, I believe.
Yeah, the new one.
Yes. So my comment is concerning, Pathways. Yeah, we lost a lot of members because of the conversion to Pathways. It was just a no-go for so many people. And ever since we've been on Pathways, we have a big problem getting people to sign up for meeting roles.
Yeah.
And I actually attempted to do a delegation of meeting roles a couple of weeks ago, and it totally fell flat. Everybody just kind of disregarded my delegation and didn't respond or whatever. So we have, weekly meetings and everybody signs up for roles in advance, supposedly. Now, when we had the competent leadership manual, that was what drove signing up for meeting roles, because you had to
Fill those out.
take the roles to complete the manual. Any suggestions on how to get people to sign up for roles in advance?
You know what I'm gonna say is just get away from it completely. It creates dysfunctionality in a club, and then what you're experiencing is trying to get it started again, and you pretty much have to get the
away
whole
from what? I'm sorry, get away from what?
volunteering for roles. And
So
go to delegating roles. Yep. And holding people accountable and publishing an agenda that's 3 weeks out, so that people have plenty of time to know what role they have.
Okay, I will present that to the board and see how they feel about making that shift, because I mean, like this morning we had a meeting, and this morning is when people started signing up. And it was crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. And it makes it so much harder on the vice president of education. You're constantly trying to field emails, trying to recruit people. If you publish, and I'll even go as far as to say this, if you publish agendas that are a month out and you broadcast them, do you use Free Toast?
We use Easy Speak.
You use Easy Speak. So if you create agendas that are a month out and you push those agendas to membership with a message saying, hey, check these agendas out, you have a role. If you cannot make that role, please let the Toastmaster know, but you are expected to show up and be ready to do that role. You gotta kind of really twist it in there. But once it gets rolling, everybody gets in the groove and they know, oh yeah, here in a couple of weeks, I'm an evaluator. And then they get ready and they get prepared for it. Or yeah, here in a couple of weeks, I'm a speaker. What speech am I going to do? Oh, I'll go to my path and see what project I can work on. And it gets their gears turning so that 2 weeks later, when they know that they're going to be a speaker, they're ready to rock. It's not that last minute, oh, wow, I can give a speech, but what am I going to do? Now I got to crank a speech out in 2, 3, 4 hours, and it's not going to be high quality and it's not going to be fun. Does that make sense?
It does. I appreciate that. Baxter Kent is actually our VPE.
She's supposed to be here tonight. You tell her I missed her.
I will let her know that you've called her out.
She was on the registration for tonight, so I was looking forward to it.
Yeah,
but she knows the deal too. She does.
Good job of it. Yeah, she'll do a good job of it. So thank you.
Yeah,
I
I hope
also would like to take advantage of your offer to speak at our club, and I wanted to confirm your email address.
I put it in the chat. Did you see it?
No, because I had to leave and come back in.
Oh,
Baxter's awesome. I see that too. So I lost the chat.
I'll do it again.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy. There you go.
Is there a list available that we can get? I'd love to be an evaluator between different clubs.
You know, I would connect with those clubs and offer it. Get proactive about it. I'm sure they would be open to that. Don't you think, Linda? I think if you got a hold of the vice president of education and just say, hey, I'd like to visit your club and I'm offering up to be an evaluator.
100%. Absolutely. They'd love to have you, Tammy.
Yeah, that's what I do here in Colorado is I filter around, and when I'm going to be here, I let them know and so forth. So that's great. I'll just take it back to Seattle with me as well.
Yeah, get proactive with it. Yeah, I would think that 99% of the clubs are going to be open to that, especially a visitor. That helps with stirring the meeting up, so to speak. Not really stirring it up, but getting out of that groove and having some variables and some variances. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. That would be. Let me know how it goes, because that's interesting. We hear a lot about guest speakers, but we don't hear a lot about guest evaluators. So that's that's the other thing about Pathways, Brian, is the evaluation thing. It's on the honor system, right? And it's so hard to traffic that filled out, even though it's not that hard. But once you fill the evaluation out, trafficking that back to the speaker, there's ways and pathways to assign it to that speaker, or you can email it to them, but it's all on the honor system. Totally. Yeah. I hope.
What I'm doing in Redmond with the club is most of our members are signed into Pathways. The ones that are not, the older members, I am sending everything to them. I'm selecting them as an evaluator, sending everything to them. I'm walking it through them, hands held. So, toenail clip in the water, but that's where I'm willing to start.
Right. That's the other thing, Marie, too, is once you publish that agenda. Now, I don't know about Easy Speak. In Easy Speak, does the person have to confirm their role?
Yes, they do.
Yes.
And that's why I tried to delegate using Easy Speak, and nobody confirmed.
Yeah.
Nobody responded. And
So
I know they
then,
got the emails.
yeah, you just have to get proactive. And especially, like I said, if you have agendas that are a month out and 2 weeks away, people haven't confirmed, then you're probably going to have to reach out personally and say, hey, do you realize you have a role and haven't confirmed it yet? Would you please take advantage of that? I mean, especially in a corporate club, people are used to being held accountable. Now, it's going to be rough go at first holding people accountable because they're used to being slackers, those darn slackers. But you just got to grab it by a firm grip. And once you get the culture established and back in the groove, it will make it so much easier on the vice president of education, and make it, the club will buzz with energy because people will be in that group. They will know what to do when they show up. Speakers will be prepared. Speakers will have prepared speeches. So it might take a little bit of effort up front, but I highly recommend that you guys start moving toward that.
Yeah, that's the other problem we have is when I first joined this club, we had to wait like 5 meetings out before we could get a speaking slot.
Yeah.
Now we can't get people to sign up for speeches,
So
which is
when
why I want you to visit our club.
So when you first joined, were the roles assigned, or were they still volunteer?
Well, it was 7 years ago. They were all volunteer,
Hmm.
but we had 50 members.
Yeah.
And generally we had 20 to 25 people in every meeting. So the
Yeah.
energy was high.
Yeah, I
Now we have
remember that.
26 members, and only about 5 of them are long-term.
So
So we
what's
have
the reason that membership is falling off, do you think?
There's a number of things. Retirement, right?
Yeah.
Because we're a corporate club, people leave the company. pathways. We lost a lot of people with that. And then over this last 2 years with the COVID, people just stepped away because they were so overwhelmed with all the changes. So hopefully we'll start getting them back. But we had our first hybrid meeting today. And that's why I couldn't speak earlier. I was on the wrong device here when you were talking about this. So we were virtual all this time. And today was our first hybrid meeting. And we ended up with 5 people online and 10 people in a room.
Wow.
And
Well,
yes,
there's hope.
It blew us out of the water. That was
So now to me would be the time to start to get aggressive about assigning roles, because you're kind of in that new phase of hybrid and trying to keep it organized. And you can always, are you the vice president of education?
No, Baxter is. I'm the president.
Oh, you're the president. So you can kind of be that strong arm and just say, hey, you know, we're going to start doing it this way because it's going to make it so much easier, and you guys will have an easier time because you'll know well in advance of what your role is going to be.
Yes, I need to be more firm on some of these things. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this club back on track because
Cool.
we've been very.
I'm looking forward to you doing that too. So if you need, reach out to me. I can come talk to you guys and pick a topic, or if you want to hear my how to craft a speech.
Yep.
Or how to craft, I'll call it how to craft a presentation that gets amazing results.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I'm drafting the email as you continue speaking. So please continue.
I'll look for it. I'll look for it.
Thanks.
We're coming down to the wire. We said we'd be done by 8. Thank you all for sticking around. Any last minute hot burning questions?
I don't have questions, but I want you to know that this was highly informative. And while I think that your expertise is evident, what I think is most useful is that you incorporated the participants and the volumes of wisdom that they had to share. And that's quite impressive. And I'm grateful for it. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Marty. That's how people learn. That's how we get, you know, I'll close with this. I've been an officer in Toastmaster clubs probably for the 11 and a half years of the 12 years I've been involved in the organization. So that means every year I've been to at least 2 officers meeting. And you'd think by going to all those officers meetings that I would be like, yeah, I don't need to do it. But I'm going to tell you something. Everyone that I go to, everyone that I attend, I always come away with something new, some idea, some thought, something that will help me and my club be successful. So don't ever think that there isn't something to learn or something to know at an officer's training, because there is a plethora of information to be gained. And don't forget, do not forget this one thing, right? The one thing that you are to take away. What's the plan for becoming distinguished? Take that back to your club and figure it out. Oh, you know what? It's given you my other screen, but I think you can read. I think you all got it. What's the plan for you becoming distinguished? Go back and figure it out, because it will make a huge difference in the way your club operates. Back to you, Kevin, Division E Director.
Thank you, Todd. And I think the question, what does it take for your club to distinguish, is a great point to end the meeting, because no matter whether you want to do it for your DTM or just to make the club better, having a club plan and having a plan is always valuable. Even so, no plan survives reality. It's the planning that matters. With that, thank you everyone for coming tonight and for so actively participating. I'm especially glad that everyone could voice their opinion and did so. And of course, thank you very much to Todd for leading us through this wonderful evening. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.